I've been proud to represent you for the last 10 years. Very proud. But I've never been prouder than I have been this year. Now, for me to explain that to you and the reason why I've never been prouder, let me first give you some context to all of this year. We came into 2020 thinking that it might be the best year we've ever had. You remember PDPM used to be all that we talked about? Coming into 2020, it was working great. We thought, oh, great, we finally have a payment system that works for us and works for our residents. We thought we were going to have a tremendous year. Assisted living was rolling along well. We thought that 2020 was going to be a great year. Well, it turned out that all of those things were pretty minor, and 2020 became the most challenging year that we've ever had. It's been a clinical nightmare, and it's been a financial disaster. On the clinical side, you know the numbers. It's just staggering. Over 200,000 people in our skilled nursing facilities, tens of thousands of people in assisted living buildings have been struck with COVID. And tragically, tens of thousands of them have died, residents and staff members. The clinical challenge is unprecedented. On the business side, we've had our hands full. Census dropped dramatically immediately after the pandemic, dropping 10% and unfortunately not getting any better. And expenses have gone through the roof. PPE, testing, staffing, more regulation, et cetera. It's been a clinical and business nightmare. On top of that, we've been blamed. Headline after headline across the country have suggested, and some have just flat out stated, that this has been our fault. Well, it's not. We know that. There are now independent academic reports from Harvard, from Brown, from University of Chicago, all of which have concluded what we've known all along. This is not a good building versus bad building issue. It's not that good buildings didn't get COVID and bad buildings did. This is an issue of where did your building happen to be? And if you happen to be in New York City, like many of our great providers are, you got COVID in your buildings. If you ended up to be in a sparsely populated part of the country with very little COVID, you probably didn't. But all of us have been blamed. When you add all of this up, a clinical nightmare, a business challenge, continual blame, I wouldn't blame you at all if you gave up. I don't think anybody would be surprised if you quit. But you didn't quit. In some parts of the world, when buildings were struck with COVID, the employees fled, leaving the residents there to fend for themselves. But that didn't happen in the United States, and it didn't happen in your buildings. You never quit. And that's why I have never been prouder to represent you. Not only did you never quit, our employees ran towards the problem. There were times when we had to send folks home to be quarantined that didn't want to go home because they didn't want to leave the people in the buildings that they love so much. Many of you have worked every single day for 7 or 8 months, double shifts, all hours of the day and night, weekends, you name it. The sacrifices that you have made have been incredible, and they have been at great risk. Almost 1,000 staff members have died. You've been willing to subject yourself to the risk of taking care of the people that you love. You have never quit. And you know what? We haven't quit in DC either. Although our sacrifices are minor compared to what you've given, we've pulled together and we've worked hard too. And the results speak for themselves. On the skilled nursing side, thank goodness, we've been able to achieve some relief. It started out with the lifting of the sequester, so rates went up 2%. Then we got a clean payment rule, so rates went up another 2+%. Then we got some important waivers. The 3-day stay requirement was waived. Some other regulatory issues were waived. We got the advanced Medicare payment. And then most importantly, we've had billions of dollars, now over $12 billion that have gone directly into skilled nursing facilities. And although we were slow to get relief on the assisted living side, thank goodness that we finally gotten some help there with well over several $billion of money that have gone directly to assisted living. This fight isn't over yet. We've still got a ways to go, but it will get better. Testing will gradually get better, more available, and cheaper. We're already starting to see that in our buildings. I believe that there will be a vaccine by the end of this year, and I pledge to you that our lobbying efforts won't stop until we are absolutely certain that our staff and our residents are at the highest possible priority level for that vaccine. And our businesses will eventually come back. I know it feels like right now it'll never get back to normal again, but it will. I've been around a long time. I've seen dark days myself, and we will get back to where we were. The demographics speak for themselves. Finally, millions of people in our age groups that we take care of are turning 80 to 85 every single year, and that will continue to happen for the foreseeable future. The oversight will prove that this wasn't our fault, that it happened because of asymptomatic carriers, and that we weren't given the equipment and the testing we need, and the public will again grow in its confidence for us. It won't be easy. It's going to take some time. There will be bumps along the way, but we will get back to where we were. One of my favorite members, in fact, one of my favorite people, Glenn Van Eckeren, has written an incredible book called Love is a Verb. Think about that just for a second. Love is a verb. It's one thing to tell people that you love them. It's another thing to actually show that by your actions. Your actions this year, the sacrifices that you've made, the courage that you've made, the physical exhaustion that you have demonstrated, your just complete ability to sacrifice everything for other people. You haven't just told our residents that you love them. You've showed them that you've loved them by your actions. And that's why we will never give up fighting for you in Washington, D.C. And it's why I've never been prouder to represent